Hello, can you hear me and see me? You are first spectator today. Which country are you from, if it is not secret? Hello, desde Madrid. Hola, ¿cómo estás? From Germany. Very well. Okay, so today I will consider game 7 from match between Lasker and Schlechter. Before this game, the score was +1 in favor of Karl Schlechter. And okay, so 4 games left, and after e4, in previous games, Lasker played e5 and stay in its defense, but probably in such match situation, he decided to play Sicilian because not many games left, and probably he decides that he need to try to win also with black, not only with white. So Sicilian, first time in this match. Knight f3, knight c6, d4, knight f6, knight c3, but now he played g6. So according to modern theory, this variation is quite dubious for black, because white can take on c6, if b pawn takes e5, and knight g8, bishop c4, bishop g7, queen f3, and this kind of initiative very unpleasant. D takes c6 is also possible, but I don't know what Lasker played, b takes c6 or d takes c6. Probably d takes c6 because, okay, but now after this and bishop c4, king e8 is the best according to theory. e5, knight d7, e6, takes, white has slightly better endgame without any risk. For example, after bishop g7, bishop d2 is possible. How game can be, for example, knight b6. Probably even bishop b3 is logical move to prepare long castle. c5 doesn't work very well because bishop e3 is coming. If c4, bishop takes b6. And after cb, ab is possible. Also okay, maybe. Here black has good chances for draw. Totally possible, but I'm not sure about this position. King d2, white can try, for example, king f7, bishop e3, rook d8, king c1, a6, some compensation. Bishop takes c8 possible as well, but after rook takes c8, this knight c4 is coming, and black has some contraplay, but anyway, this position is more pleasant for white. For example, even bishop e1 is possible. But okay, king f7, and if b3, knight d6, so complicated endgame, but bishop on e1 a little bit strange. White has better pawn structure, but black has some dynamic resources. So what else? So knight takes d2 is threat, and then rook d8, and then bishop takes c3, and it will be drawn. For example, if natural move this rook d8 check, and then bishop takes c3, this endgame is drawish. So bishop b3 probably more promising, or I will check. Oh, also bishop e3 probably is possible. I am not sure that bishop takes c3 is such a big threat for white. If knight b6, now bishop b3 to prepare a long castle. So pleasant position for white, of course, but it's a question how much it is. But Schlechter played bishop c4. It's quite also good line, because if now black plays naturally, now knight takes c6, so d takes c6 now is quite dubious. I am not sure that white can take on f7, however, because e6 is coming. White has some problem with his bishop. Okay, it's necessary to check. Maybe it's possible to take such a pawn, but about this I'm not sure. For example, I mean bishop g5. What is this? So e5 is threat. If h6, pawn g6 already hanging. If king e7, e5. So king c7, bishop f4 is, but bishop f4, king d7 to prepare king e7. So this problem for white somehow was not so clear how bishop can be defended. But not necessary to play this, so white can do something else. And positionally, bishop on g7 is not in optimal position, so white can play, for example, simply f3 to prepare bishop e3 long castle, because usually in in this position I explained it already that after knight c6 d takes c6, usually black plays king e8, so not bishop g7. This idea to develop bishop to c, for example, if f3, e5, bishop e3, maybe even bishop b4 is possible. So black has no plan to develop his bishop on g7. Maybe knight d7 as well. But after knight d7, it's logical idea to prepare knight c5. Okay, rook d1 white can play. Now bishop c5 is stopped because rook takes d7 and rook takes f7. And hard to believe that black can catch this rook somehow. But okay, black can play knight c5 to prepare bishop e6. So usually black wants to have his bishop in diagonal a3 f8, because after bishop g7, okay, even simply a4 is possible. Just try to show that bishop on g7 is a little bit misplaced. And also there is concrete try to play e5. If knight d7, just f4 is pleasant for white. I think also this variation can be continued. f4, f6, knight e4, for example, is possible. If f takes e5, knight g5. If knight g4, also f4. So bishop g7 looks like dubious try. And Lasker played d6, but d6 it's a dubious line from Sozin variation. So now if white plays bishop c4, if black wants to play g6, the most popular move here e6, also very popular move queen b6, of course. But if black wants to play with fianchet, usually they are doing bishop d7 and only in next move g6 with idea to take on c6 with bishop if white is taken. Well, many games was played, for example, castle, g6, knight takes c6, bishop takes c6, bishop g5, bishop g7, knight d5, it's bishop takes d5, e takes d5, castle, rook e1. White is slightly better. It's one of possible variation. Also possible to play f3 to prepare bishop e3, like against normal dragon line. But g6, it's theory doesn't support this move. So in different order of move, we have this position. So Lasker played d6. Okay, if not bishop g7, other possibilities for black are queen b6 or queen a5, if not bishop g7. But okay, it's question how good they are. For example, if queen a5, white can simply play knight b3. If queen b4, bishop d3 is possible. So if queen c7, white can play bishop g5, bishop g7, castle. So this is more pleasant version for white than I mean this. G6, c4, knight c3, bishop g7, bishop e3, knight f6, bishop c4, queen a5. So now knight b3, queen c7. But now we have seen bishop on e3 and somewhere white playing anyway bishop g5, losing tempo. For example, my game against Karyakin was something like this. This bishop g5, a6, this. I was black, queen d8, and then f5 is coming. So white is slightly better, but later I even won the game with black against Karyakin. So if you see this example, you can compare that white lost tempo, bishop e3 and then bishop g5. If bishop on c1, it's possible to play bishop g5 immediately, which obviously good for white. So after this, I think white is better. Bishop g5, castle, and now bishop e2 is possible. Waiting move. Idea of this waiting move that if bishop f6 immediately black has queen d6 this square. So white is waiting for d6 and preparing to take on f6 in better moment. Also possible rook e1 with same idea if d6 bishop f6. And bishop probably will go to f1 even, which looks like promising as well. Queen b6, another option for black, but not easy to understand how strong it is. So again, white can play knight b3, totally possible, with more or less same idea. I mean bishop g7, castle, bishop g5, totally possible. Or maybe knight takes c6 can be considered as well, this idea to push e5. But here maybe black has some contraplay, like d takes c6, if e5, it's not necessary, totally possible castle, but if castle, black can consider knight g4. This idea knight e5 somehow. I don't know how strong it is, but at least it is logical more or less to stop e5, because if bishop g7, e5, and now if knight g4, e6 is possible. Probably this is unpleasant for white. f5 only move queen e2, and I think the pawn on e6 can be strong. But if e5, immediately knight g4. So here probably black has some contraplay, bishop g7. Okay, anyway, white can play e6, f5 castle. But if f4, knight h6. And black is ready for bishop g4. Or knight f5 if h3. But okay, so Lasker played d6, knight takes c6, of course. Principal way, white immediately attacking. If white wants to play in style of Rouser attack, it's also possible. f3, f3 idea to prepare bishop e3, because if bishop e3 immediately, knight g4, it's not so clear. Black is attacking this bishop, and not so clear what white will do with this. So f3, it's possible if bishop g7, bishop e3, and go to classical dragon line. I mean castle, queen d2. If black play queen b6, there is theoretical line, knight f5, queen takes b2, knight takes g7, king f8, knight d5, knight takes d5, bishop takes d5, and now black has choice. A king takes g7, it's possible. After king takes g7, usually castle. With good initiative. Or queen c3, it's possible firstly. King f2, and now king takes g7, rook b1. So white has excellent compensation for the pawn. f3. Okay, maybe black can consider queen b6 here immediately, with idea to destroy it, white plans. Bishop e3, I'm not totally sure it's strong, because queen takes b2, and then if knight db5, black has queen b4, utilizing bad position of white bishop c4. But okay, after queen b6, white can play knight b3 simply. If bishop g7, queen e2 to prepare bishop e3 and long castle. Well, okay, maybe this is playable for black. Queen c7, then knight e5 is coming. Yes, queen b6 is solid also. But also white has quite solid positions. It's nothing wrong for white, but it's not standard. There is no standard plan anymore with bishop e3 and queen d2, long castle. So now it's fresh position. Okay, maybe after knight b3, bishop g7, more precise to play bishop g5. With idea to develop queen on d2 instead of e2. For example, we can consider knight h5. Okay, knight h5 looks like very strange, because you allow knight d5 at least, queen d8, and now even g4 is possible, or simply c3. So I don't see special advantage of to have knight on h5. Okay, after bishop g5, black should play something more natural. But if h6, bishop f6 can be unpleasant, because if bishop takes knight d5, if queen e3 check, king f1. And here knight c7 is coming, black is losing material, so castle is possible. Now bishop f6, Maybe possible, but okay, maybe also possible. So it's quite principle because bishop f6, knight d5, so queen e3 check, king f1. But okay, now king on f1, black can take this pawn and even give pawn d6 with idea to push f5, so it's not so clear. But okay, after castle, very natural to play queen d2, to play this position. Okay, nothing special. Probably black can play bishop e6, black can play mm, knight e5, so queen b6 is a quite creative move. I don't know if there are some games. I don't see games in highest level, but probably they are. Okay, so white has choice also. Bishop f4 is possible here with idea to control e5 square, castle, queen d2. But okay, it's not a clear position after bishop e6. So queen b6 is possible. At knight takes c6, very direct try. B takes c6, hello. E5, everything okay with video, with voice, so I enjoy it. So after e5, knight g4, it's forced because okay, so d takes e5, it's obvious mistake, it's not possible. So knight d7 also looks like very dangerous for black because there is a problem with development of pieces. So after d5, knight takes d5 is winning already. So knight g4 is forced, but now e6. E6 is possible, of course, but it's not a recommendation of modern theories. Modern theory recommend to just take on d6. Again, if pawn takes castle, it looks like pretty unpleasant for black. Because if d5, knight takes d5 is white his winning attack, I hope. Is the simplest way probably. Check, if bishop d7, check, if bishop e7 takes, and bishop g5, and white is winning. If bishop d7, queen d4. So after e takes d6, normal try is to take with queen, and now sometimes white is playing bishop e2, queen takes d1, knight takes d1, this endgame. Okay, white has slightly better structure, but black has more active pieces, so I don't think that white has a real advantage here, although this endgame is playable. In my opinion, queen e2 is a more aggressive try, at least Isaac Boleslavsky played queen e2 against Viktor Korchnoi. So Boleslavsky was very strong in theory. So I think queen e2 is the best way here for white. And how game can... Frankly speaking, I don't remember exactly game Boleslavsky Korchnoi. Boleslavsky, I remember that he played h3 here or after bishop d2, castle, now h3, knight e5, bishop b3, something like this, and won later. But or maybe immediately h3, but I'm not sure. Mm, but in my opinion, I don't know why white need to hurry with h3 at all, because knight on g4 is in hanging position. So in my opinion, much more natural for white to play just bishop d2 and after castle, just a long castle. And white has very pleasant position because now they can play h3 or f3 whenever what they, if rook b8 for example, uh, just bishop b3 it's possible. So I don't see good possibilities for black utilize active or pseudo active position of his knight on d4, because if for example queen e5 white can simply take, and now this is very good, and obviously black cannot take on f2 even after rook f1. Too many pieces are hanging, so I think this position should be better for white. So white has better pawn structure and even a little bit more active pieces. But okay, so Schlechter played e6. This is double-edged move because, of course, there are threats, space advantage, but not so clear question if this pawn is strong or weak. So f5 only move, black has no choice. Castle, bishop g7. So black wants to develop their pieces naturally and then try to surround pawn e6 somehow. Okay, this type of position a little bit similar to English opening. I mean, this slide which was played in match between Garry Kasparov and Anatoly Karpov. So Kasparov played queen b3. So same pawn on e3, okay, reverse set color, but okay, it's different position. So bishop f4. Bishop f4 is very concrete try. So Schlechter doesn't want allow castle, because now if castle, bishop takes d6. It's very strong. Black is losing materials. Not possible to take this pawn because of obvious reason. If take this queen, white wins exchange without sufficient compensation. So, but queen b6, so disadvantage of bishop f4, and now pawn b2 is hanging, and Lasker immediately trying to utilize. Selamlar, merhaba, nasılsın, hangi şehirde oturuyorsun? So queen b6, pawn is hanging, İstanbul. Çok güzel. Bishop b3. Played Schlechter. Now bishop a6 played Lasker. Now probably castle is possible to consider at least. I don't know the strong or bad, but no, I mean that now if bishop takes d6, black has rook d8. Not so clear what white will do here. But still black has no threat to take, because yes, bishop a6 not wrong, but castle maybe also possible. So maybe this position is stable for black as well. But necessary to check some tactics like this. And where will go queen? Because, okay, now queen a5 possible, because if bishop b4, queen c7, h2 pawn is attacking. So probably white cannot take on d6, but I'm not totally sure. It's, if there is some hide tactic. Even bishop takes e7, it's possible to consider, but okay, probably it's too much. But white has threat, for example, if bishop a6, bishop d8, and e7 is coming. Now white is winning. So, okay, bishop e6 looks like mistake, but what to play? Rook d8 is threat. Now, if queen c7, bishop d6 is winning. Rook d8, bishop f8 not so clear. Although even here bishop d6 is strong. But okay, it's more simple bishop d6 and e7. So rook a d1. Okay, probably black should play. Okay, how black should play? Bishop e5 also doesn't work because bishop d8 and e7 is coming. So white's threat are quite obvious, but how is possible to defend against them? It's not so clear. Probably it's really strong, surprisingly. Maybe bishop takes c3 somehow. Idea to have square g7 for the king, but I don't know. So if bishop d8, queen takes b3 looks like only move. Maybe queen b8 is possible if e7, king g7. Bishop f6 is proposition. Here bishop f6. No, bishop f6, rook d8, and white wins simply. If king g7, bishop f8. If queen takes, bishop takes, and e7. So bishop takes c3 looks like only move. Sorry. Bishop e6 where? Bishop f6. So bishop takes c3 looks like only move. If bishop d8, maybe queen b8 or queen takes b3. Why not rook d8? Where rook d? Now rook d8. Rook d8, king g7 was my idea. Bishop e6. Instead bishop takes c3. Yes. Yes, you are right. Good. Bishop e6 is good. Yes, and now black is okay. So queen is strong. Okay, probably. How evaluate this position? Approximately equal. I mean, after bishop b3. So material is uh, is equal, but black has quite active pieces. So probably black is slightly better here after rook e8. Yes, bishop e6 looks like the most wise choice in this line. My stream on YouTube. Yes, I add some streams to YouTube, so if somebody wants, they can see my, videos in my channel. Okay, so castle was possible and highly provocative move after bishop d6, rook d8 idea. So at least there is no concrete refutation as we see. I mean, after bishop takes d6, rook d8, so black is not losing. And okay, and now they are prepared for bishop a6, so not so easy to white to play some natural moves. And bishop c8 can be useful for attack e6 pawn. Okay, maybe white can try something like queen d2. If if bishop a6, rook fe1, something like this, but I don't know if white has initiative here. Bishop d4, knight d1 was my idea, but okay, it doesn't look like advantage. h3 and bishop a is h3 here. Okay, knight e5. And bishop e3 and f4. Yes, yes, yes. Ah, yes. And if f4 is coming, so good for white. Bishop d6, rook d8, knight a4. Good for white, but why is good? Because queen a5 is possible. h3 now, or what? Bishop before immediately queen c. No, bishop before queen c7. White lost because mate in threat. So probably h3 only move, but okay, it's unclear. Bishop a6 is coming. Okay, no problem. We are analyzing. Again, it's possible to check this idea with queen sacrifice and bishop d8 threat, but I don't know how convincing it is. Okay, so castle was possible, was highly provocative move, but Lasker played bishop a6, quite natural move. So knight a4. Now white cannot play with rook because f2 pawn is attacked, but maybe h3 was possible. Exchange sacrifice. It's question how strong it is. Now if g takes f5 castles, probably objectively black is better here. So knight a4 played. Lasker, Schlechter. No. Queen d4. So Lasker goes to endgame. Of course, he has choice. For example, queen b4, it's alternative. If bishop d2 looks like only move, now queen d4. And what white should play? So f rook is attacked. So if c3, queen e5, it's f4 looks like only move. And what is this? Black can play even queen e2. Or maybe queen e4 is possible. Queen e4, rook e1. And bishop d4 doesn't work. Very active, but it's double edge. So queen d4, c3. Because bishop c3, queen f4. It's g3, queen h6, and white is losing exchange. So probably c3 is only move. But okay, queen e5, f4, queen e2. So this endgame looks like good for black because they have a good square e4 for his knight. For example, this rook e1. Now maybe even bishop b5, maybe bishop a6, then knight f6, e4 is coming. So queen b4 was quite reasonable alternative for Emanuel Lasker in this position. But he played queen d4, queen takes d4, bishop takes d4. So he is attacking exchange. Of course, white can play c3, and they have good compensation for exchange of the bishop b5, knight c3. because some kind of domination. So bishops are quite strong, but of course it's a risky decision, but interesting one. So Schlechter played c4. Now position looks like very nice for black because bishop on d4 is very strong. Queen's game, did we look bishop when the queen's game, did we look bishop d6? Queen's game, bishop takes d6. I don't understand what you mean, queen's game. Bishop takes d6 will go in several moves later, but it wasn't forced. So now black has choice. Many plans are possible. So Lasker played castle, but okay, this is endgame already. So castle, it's possible, but not such an obvious decision. So even long castle, it's possible to consider, probably. If rook a d1, for example, to play c5, play this position. So it's not so obvious where black king is better. But okay, Lasker choose different plan, castle, rook d1. Also now c5 is totally possible. I don't know, probably this structure is not so clear. But okay, it's black can take, or also black can play knight f6, for example. So it's complicated. So c5 was quite a logical option in this position, but Lasker played bishop f6. Rook f e1, very natural. And after g5, bishop d6. So very sharp. Okay, there is question if g5 was totally forced. Forced, I think it wasn't, but what is alternative now after rook f e1? White can think about c5. If, for example, rook a d8, c5 is possible. So g5 is very concrete try, and now if bishop goes to d2 or c1, black has some initiative. Also, position still totally unclear for me. Okay, so after bishop d2, probably knight e5 is possible to consider, and knight d3, but now c takes d6. This black cannot take on d6 back, so this line is thanks for subscription. So this line is hardly playable for black. So after bishop d2, probably black should play bishop d4. Looks like much more promising. But okay, rook e2, and position is unclear. g5 is hanging, so and then bishop c3 probably. White will exchange the bishop. So bishop d2 was totally possible, but Schlechter made his brave decision. So he gave his bishop. So now he has two pawns against a bishop, and he is trying to utilize tactical resources. So bishop e5, Lasker is attacking. I don't know if this is only move in this position. Probably there are some other moves, but it's logical one. So white has threat to take on c6 somewhere, c5 is coming, so initiative of white looks like promising view. So bishop e5, logic. Now if rook takes c6, bishop b7, so black winning some tempis to organize contraplay. For example, if rook c5, bishop takes h2, sorry, bishop takes h2, king f1, bishop d6 probably. And white should go somewhere with his rook. Although e7, e7, yes, e7 is possible, so it's still not so clear. If rook e8, rook takes f5. If bishop c5, knight takes c5 just. So I will not promote queen immediately because bishop is protected in f8 square, but knight takes c5. So, and now white is better. So after e7, okay, if rook goes somewhere, rook takes f5 is coming, and not only pawn g5 is hanging, but also c5 is coming. So probably rook takes c6 wasn't a bad move at all. So bishop is attacked. So bishop b7 is forced. Okay, bishop c8 totally stupid. So rook c5. Now, okay, bishop takes h2, only logical move. King f1. Okay, maybe now black has something better. Maybe instead of bishop d6, rook a e8 is possible to consider. Maybe this is stronger. Because g3, I'm not so sure that g3 is strong. After g3, black can play bishop f3, something like this. So in such a sharp position, I'm not sure that white will have time to catch comfortably black bishop h2, so rook a e8 probably strong. Okay, but Lasker played c5, another natural move. After rook a e8, g3, okay, probably bishop f3, probably rook e7, I don't know what is the best. Maybe rook e7. Black wants to play h5, h4. Okay, still unclear, of course. Knight c3, it's possible to prepare knight d5, so it's very far from clear. F4, rook takes g5. I don't think that. Okay, maybe it's possible even f4. Rook g5, king h8. Maybe, but what is this? Maybe. Yes, maybe even this is possible. Okay, but c5 played Schlechter, brave decision, so he wants to have two passed pawns if black will take on d6. e7 check is threat. Maybe I'm thinking now here also. No, e7. Here e7 it's possible to consider as well. Because bishop takes d6, c5 is coming. It's unpleasant, but after e7, rook e8 anyway, I think the best for black. Now if rook takes c6, bishop b7, if c5, king g7. White has nothing concrete. Okay, so let's come back to the game. So c5, rook f e8, g3 simply. Very calm move. What? So it looks like h3 looks like more natural, but after h3 probably he afraid bishop h2 and bishop takes d6. And after c takes d6, knight takes f2 check. After king g1, knight d3. Probably this was a problem of Karl Schlechter to play h3. And I don't know what is this, however. White is rook down. It's a moment and not so clear how to continue attack. Rook e3 it's possible, but king g7. If e7 or f4, rook e4, something like this. King g7, e7. Wild position. So if king f6, white wants to play rook e6 check and d7. If bishop c8, maybe bishop c8 is correct. Bishop e6. No, very difficult mm, to evaluate such a position. But at least there is no direct win for white. So h3, bishop h2, and bishop takes d6, and knight f2, and knight d3. Probably knight e4 is also possible. Maybe knight e4 is even stronger. Because immediately attack the pawn with d7, rook e7. Okay, still unclear. d7, rook e7, g4, for example. So this is not the end of variation, but bishop c8, rook d4. Yeah, rook d4, knight e5, knight c5. But okay, white has no concrete threats. a5 is possible. So Schlechter played h3. Okay, maybe f3 with f3. Also bishop h2, bishop d6, and then knight f2, knight d3. So there is no resource knight e4 anymore, but there is knight d3. More or less similar variation, which are totally unclear, at least for me. So Karl Schlechter played g3. Calm move. So now he wants to play h3, bishop d6. C takes d6, he is not afraid because knight c5 is coming. And Lasker played bishop f6. So he is preparing knight e5. Maybe this is the best, I'm not totally sure, but not so easy to propose alternative because white wants to play h3. So now after h3 he prepared knight e5. So rook takes c6, bishop b7. Bishop b7, maybe bishop b5 also is possible. So time to calculate pawns. So at the moment white has 3 pawns against a piece. So who is better? Very difficult to say. I don't know what is better, bishop b5 or bishop b7. It's uh, not obvious question. Okay, but bishop b7 played Lasker. It's his choice. Rook c7 and rook e4. So why rook e4? Very natural. Rook looks. Aha. He cannot play rook e7. So my idea was rook e7. If rook takes, rook takes. If e7, rook takes b3, and black is better or probably even winning. After takes, king f7. After promote queen, takes king f7. But there is big problem. Bishop d5 is very strong. Now white is winning, so it was trap. So rook e7 is mistake, because after rook takes b7 and bishop d5, white is just winning, like losing at least a rook. So bishop e4 is only move, but it looks like black losing tempi with moving with bishop. So probably bishop b5 objectively was stronger. Because now if rook c7, I can play rook e7. It's difference. And block white pawn somehow. So rook is trapped for exchange. Maybe. If there is no knight c3, knight takes b5, but it looks like no. So this. If knight c3, okay, even bishop takes c5 can be really strong because. Okay, it's necessary to check. It's maybe not so obvious. e7 check and knight c7. Probably this good for white. So position very sharp. There are a lot of tactical tricks, but okay. So after rook c7, after knight c3, not necessary to take on c5 immediately. Totally possible to play something else like bishop c6, for example. If not rook c7, okay, rook d6 back. Okay, but if rook d6 back, I have time to consolidate my pieces. I can consider many moves. Rook e7, for example, or rook c8. Rook e7 looks like logical. Block this pawn and then rook c8. So probably bishop b5 was stronger than bishop b7. I like bishop b5 because now black losing time for two moves with bishops. With bishop. And now knight c3. Again, bishop is attacked. And black should do something with this. So if bishop e5, probably rook f7 is possible. Also rook f7, bishop takes c3. Okay, maybe this can be considered. e7 check and knight d6. And then bishop a4 is coming. So it can be really unpleasant for black. Is it everything okay with my stream, with picture, with sound? Because if chat is passive, I'm worried I'm doing something wrong, or not. I'm doing something wrong, probably something wrong with connection or quality of my stream. So please write me something to confirm that yes, it's working. Okay. Çok güzel. So knight c3, bishop takes c3, took Emmanuel Lasker b takes c3, knight e5. Still white has three pawns against a piece and active pieces. Of course, rook c8 maybe not a good option because e7, king g7, this. My initial idea was f3, probably this is correct idea, f3. And if knight e5, just take. If knight is this. If knight takes e1, white has bishop a2. They have at least excellent winning chances. So black should be extremely careful with e6 pawn. So knight e5, natural move. He prepared knight f3, so rook d1, knight h2. So now black has only, white has only two pawns against a piece, but well, now all white pieces very well coordinated and it gives some optimism. Knight e5 played Lasker. Rook d7. It's question if rook d7 is the best. Also, I'm not sure what was in the with time at the moment. Okay, white can play something else, for example, rook d6 simply. King e3 is possible as well, but if king e3, black can check if white agree to draw. So rook d6 is totally possible. So at the moment, rook c7 is active, but there is no direct threats. So probably black can consider a5 this idea to prepare a4. So rook d7 more concrete try because now rook g7 is threat, but Lasker defending f4. So now pawn h7 is defended. So Schlechter is taking another pawn, but bishop d3. Now knight is dangerous because if king d2, knight f3, and knight takes g5. But losing material without sufficient compensation. This is also important that e6 is handling. So if this, I can just take king g7. And after bishop a4, knight a6 is winning. So question if white has something better here. So in this position, probably possible to consider bishop d5. Bishop takes d5, check. King g8, this. King f8, this. But I'm not sure that it is good for white. Black has rook d8 with suddenly there is mating threat. Bishop c4 check and knight f3 mate. Knight is hanging, sorry. Knight is hanging. So black should play probably bishop f3 check. But bishop f3 check, yes. So rook d8, rook takes e5, sorry. But bishop f3 check. Okay, white can also play with If this rook king f8 and there is no e7, so this rook is forced. So this, and probably bishop c4 or bishop f3. And what is this? Okay, bishop f. Just king f1 is possible because rook d8, rook takes e5. It's no mate. Now knight is attacked. Probably knight has no good square. So probably bishop c4 is better. Prepare rook d8 with check. Yes, maybe this is the best for black. King d1, rook d8. King c2 is not possible because bishop d3. King c1, knight d3 check. So it looks like black has at least a draw in this line. Okay, what else can be considered? Доброго дня! So Schlechter played rook d7, rook take g5, bishop d3. King d1 only move, but f take g3. Important intermediate move. And now, so obviously white should take the pawn, and then they will have 3 pawns against piece. It's possible to take with pawn, which did Schlechter, also possible to take with rook. Again, not so obvious choice. Okay, if take with rook, probably black should play bishop f5. Immediately attack this pawn. Position still far from clear because e7 is possible. White is prepared for bishop a4. If knight g6, okay, rook e3, and then bishop a4 is coming. Okay, so probably not bishop f5, but now f4 is threat. If bishop plays to g6, probably f4 is good. So still very unclear position. Maybe rook takes g3 was reasonable alternative, but Schlechter took with pawn. Knight g6. So again we can see white has 3 pawns against piece. How to play is not clear. Even king d2 can be considered after rook a d8, king e3, but I don't know how strong it is, but it's possible. But okay, Schlechter played rook d5, maybe it is more natural somehow. But natural move in such sharp position, not always good. Rook h5 can be alternative, but knight e7, if bishop a4, black has rook d8. This idea, bishop g6 check. Rook d5, bishop e4, rook d6, rook d7, knight e5 was prepared. Rook d4 maybe also was possible. Attack the bishop, but bishop f5. So rook d6 more logical. from this point of view. So rook d6, because now e6 pawn is protected. Bishop f5, Lasker played anyway. He need to do something against bishop a4. So if play something like a5, bishop a4 can be considered, and white pawn e6 can become dangerous. So bishop f5, idea to stop bishop a4. Bishop d5. Okay, white has other options, but what to do? Maybe c6 immediately was possible. Okay, so he played c6 here. Now we can see that black can give some checks. Rook b1, rook b2. So c6, knight f8. So he's attacking strong pawn of white. Rook b7, rook c8. He wants to take. If e7, knight g6 was prepared. White can try e7, knight g6, rook dd7, but okay, king g7 and then king f6. So Schlechter played bishop f7 immediately, rook takes e7. Finally, he took this pawn. Bishop g6, bishop g4. Rook f7, where rook f7? Here rook f7. Instead of rook b7. Rook f7, okay, but if bishop g4 check, king d2, knight takes e6, what is the idea? Maybe no, maybe c7 is possible, but no, my idea was to play here rook takes e6, but it doesn't work because rook d8 check and then rook takes f7. So now black, yes, okay, maybe only defense, but quite obvious defense. Bishop g4 and knight takes e6. It's quite obvious try. So bishop f7, bishop g4, king c1, rook e1, king b2. So if king d3, what is this? King d3, rook e2 only move, king d2, rook e2, king d3, black should take, and now, for example, rook d4. Maybe there are some other moves, but rook takes g6, bishop f5, and bishop takes g6. White has many pawns, but hardly they can play for win this position. But maybe rook d4. So I'm trying to disturb bishop. So it looks like forcing line. King d2. So rook e2 is only move. Black has no choice. King d3. H takes g6 only move. And now rook... maybe also rook d7 is possible. But I don't know if white has any threats. But okay. C7. Okay, c7, rook e7. No, but rook d4 I like. So I'm attacking the bishop, who is defending the rook. So it looks like I will take piece back with promising position. Okay, maybe drawish position objectively. So I mean bishop f3 looks like the best move. If bishop h5 g4, so bishop f3 looks like the best move. And now rook f7 was my plan. Rook f4 doesn't work because bishop takes c6, so rook f7. So I'm taking piece back. Now rook takes a2. But okay, maybe it's draw, but maybe white has some winning chances. Rook f3, because white king is much more active than black one. For example, if rook takes c6, rook f7, so maybe it's not so easy draw for black yet. Okay, maybe rook a6 is more precise, and then take with this rook. Yes, but even here something like this, rook f7, c4, something in chances because, for example, I mean, what kind of winning chances? Even this, rook d6 and king d4 and then c5. Okay, probably this is draw, but obviously it is black who must be accurate, not white. So king d2 probably was quite strong idea. So totally forcing line, but rook d4. So bishop h5 g4. Not logical. Bishop is attacked, so black has no reasonable choice. Okay, maybe rook takes a2 and rook takes c6, but well, this is more or less the same which I showed. So bishop f3 looks like forcing and rook f7. So if rook f2, king e3, obviously. So still white has some winning chance. Probably also here c7 is possible. C7 is interesting. Question, however, how strong it is. Because black has king g8 or bishop e2 check. Bishop e2 check, and there are some checks. If king e4, rook e8, and then bishop a6. Okay, maybe c7 is risky. But okay, rook takes f3, and if rook takes c6, rook f7, it's still, this endgame is quite unpleasant. So Schlechter could play king d2, and he has some winning chances in this four rooks endgame, and he's playing without any risk, obviously. So, I mean, this is forced. So rook d4, bishop f3 is the best because bishop h5 g4. It's not alternative. So bishop f3 is rook. Okay, rook takes a2 is possible, but anyway, this kind of position, white is clearly better. Okay, I don't know if this game were enjoyment, and if yes, in which moment. I don't know. I have no idea. If it's possible to check, okay, I have no information. Good question, but I have no information. So bishop f3 only move, rook f7, rook a2, rook f3, rook a6, and now white has some choice. There are different moves. Okay, probably black should survive in this position, but it doesn't look like so easy. So rook f7. This rook, of course. Maybe it's not only move, but what else? Okay, this. Okay, for example, exchange and rook d6, king g7, king d4. Then c5, c6 is coming. I don't see how black can make draw easily. c5, c6, it's still unpleasant. Rook endgame, it's drawish, but a5, but okay, rook a6, rook d7, but why rook a6? My plan is c5. Want to, okay, maybe a4, c6, a3, maybe you are just in time. But who knows? King c5, a2, rook d1, rook a7, it should be draw, rook a3. Yes, now it's draw. Yes, yes, yes, yes. Okay, maybe it's draw, but okay, rook a6, rook d7, okay, but king somewhere. Okay, maybe draw, very likely, but you can see that not so simple. Now rook a6. Yes, yes, yes, yes. Yes, now rook a6 is good. Yes, so not easy draw. So it was chance for Schlechter still. King d2, I mean. So king c1 he played. Now he just took the pawn, and white has many pawns, but these pawns are weak, so it looks like white has no winning chances anymore. Bishop takes c6, agreed to draw. Okay, so very sharp game, interesting opening. So I think after king d2 still very sharp play. So started from e6 instead of e takes d6. They agreed to draw because of perpetual check. Okay, white can play something else, but I don't believe that they have winning chances here. Draw is forced. This. Okay, what else? So after this game, the score still +1 for Schlechter. 3 games left. So maybe some question about opening, about not exactly about this opening, maybe about another opening. If somebody are interested, we can discuss. A3, rook d7 in the no, rook d7 no, because rook d7 is draw. So we are considered this like last chance for Schlechter. Bishop f3, rook. Okay, c7, bishop e2. Uh-huh. e8 is possible. If rook e4, but also king f4 is possible. As idea rook d, king f4, bishop a6. So bishop a6 looks like enough for draw. At least I don't see anything convincing for white. So rook takes f3, rook a6, rook 7. But maybe instead of rook takes c6, maybe black should start with this. A little bit more precise. Yes, king g8 probably stronger. Objectively should be draw. But okay, maybe white can try rook f6 instead of rook f7. So this version. Black cannot play king g7 because rook d6. So rook c6. Now also rook d8 is possible. No, rook d8, rook takes d8. This checks, so this, and now something with rook d7. If a5, c4, something like. Try to utilize that white king is more active than the black one. Something like this. Okay, still. Okay, maybe draw, but still black in some trouble. For example, this c5, king e8, rook a7. So anyway, it was better than in the game for Schlechter. And he is playing without any risk, which is important. So black cannot take immediately on c6. Good question if I played against Schlechter. Okay, do you have any ideas about this? How I could play against Schlechter? In my dream or via medium or how? Difficult to organize such a game. I'm thinking about bishop f3, rook f7, rook f2. My idea this, if rook takes, rook e8 to win the rook. But okay, so is it realistic? Maybe yes. Rook f2 suddenly is possible. Not so easy to take piece back for white. Hmm. So probably my recommend. Yes, king e3, rook f1, c7. I consider it, but what to do after rook e8 check? Also rook e1. Okay, rook e1, king f2, but rook e8 check. So king d3, bishop e2. So king d2 is only move, but okay, black has rook f2 and black is winning here suddenly. Black is winning because king c1, rook e1 mate. If king d3, bishop e2, so rook f2 suddenly it works. Unbelievable. Rook f2 is, works. Rook f2 now, bishop e2 is possible, and then rook takes f4. If king e3 and rook f4, but here rook e8 check. And not so clear. Looks like bad for white. King d3. King d3, bishop e2 check, and rook takes f7. Oh, you mean rook d8 at the end? Okay, we can try with this. So my conclusion that Schlechter could play without any risk is not true. Okay, so rook f7, rook e8. Yes. But sorry, here rook f8. Black is just winning. Yes. Yes, so rook f2 is possible. So suddenly white cannot take back. So probably white even doesn't have draw here. Hard to believe, however. Maybe this is possible. This bishop takes c6. c7, bishop e2 check, and rook takes f7. This is problem for white. Or bishop e4 probably as well. Okay, bishop e4 doesn't work because bishop e2. So after rook f2 suddenly I don't see anything good for white here. Yes. So probably Schlechter was right. So he played king c1. So king d2 wasn't strong, as we can see. So king this position. No, probably king c1 is so king d2 is bad. It's bishop f3 and rook f7, rook f2. White cannot take back the piece. Okay, rook takes g6 is possible. Maybe this is draw, but okay, it's not improvement. And maybe rook b4. But if rook b4, rook e6 is possible. So this idea doesn't work. So white is in trouble here. Okay, maybe some moves. This looks like logical result and very high level of playing. Okay, so it was question about opening d4, knight f6, c4, e6. So d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3. So during last time, interesting that a6 became popular here. Rare move. No, of course, there is c5, d5, bishop b4, Bogoliubov system, and also b6, Queen's Indian. Idea of a6 is, okay, b6 is Queen's Indian, g3, bishop a6 or bishop b7. But a6 became popular. Idea that black is ready to play b5. If knight c3, d5. So c takes d5, e takes d5, bishop g5, bishop e6. This line, very popular. Okay, more common move order to play d5 immediately if knight c3, now a6. But okay, if d5, white can play g3. So it's Catalan. So if black wants to avoid Catalan, they can play a6. So if knight c3, d5. So c takes c5. Also there is some theory, but after c5, b6, c takes b5, c takes b6, and now black has choice, both possible simpler capture to play this position or c5 with more sharp variations. So bishop f4, some theory, bishop d6, something like this. Sharp variation, but according to theory also playable for black. So you can consider a6 line if you want. Of course, semi-Slav if you like. It's possible. But okay, after d5, you need to be ready for g3, also for bishop g5. Because after bishop g5, there is no semi-Slav, but okay, there are other positions. Because if c6, e3. So black can play Moscow line, for example. Who are the expert? Okay, Fedoseev, Carlsen are experts of A6 line. But okay, it's Andreikin also is expert. No, I mean this position A6, knight C3, D5. C takes D5, C takes D5 is the best. Bishop G5, Bishop E6. This position. So Queen B3 at the moment it's not so good because knight BD7 and after Queen takes B7 and Rook B8 and Rook takes B2 is coming. So this is possible. Theory and now Rook A7 for some reason is best for or Rook A7 or B6 even. It's complicated variation. Maybe even B6. I have seen at least. Idea if knight takes D5, Queen D8 and E4 C6. Also Rook A7 is possible with the same idea. Main weapon, okay, it's up to you. Okay, so you can have a6 or d5 knight c3 a6 like an option. Okay, it depends what is your level, who are your opponent, time control also, preparation of yours and your opponents. But okay, it's one of possible line. Okay, it's possibility, but okay, it's other options. Of course, you can play classical Queen's Gambit, Ragozin, Knight BD7, Cambridge Spring. It's matter of taste and matter of preparation. Okay, so I think for today it will be enough. Thanks for your attention. So nice evening for everybody, I wish. Thank you.